Hi guys, welcome to Inspire Sports Physio Podcast, where we make physio less intimidating and more fun, bringing educational bite-sized tips and tricks to you and conversations with world-class athletes and performers where you can learn from their mistakes so you don't have to. I'm Emily Mitchell, a physiotherapist and equestrian stunt performer. Today we're talking about something deceptively simple yet massively powerful, and I'm sure that we've all just been doing this coming into the new year of 2026. That is goal setting. How many of you have already forgotten about your 2026 New Year resolution? I am guessing quite a few, but that's okay. I'm not here to point fingers, so stick with me because I'm going to show you how to set goals the right way, backed by science, sprinkled with a little bit of humour, and guaranteed to give you at least an moment or at least a good chuckle along the way. So let's get to it. Why does goals matter? Picture this. I'm painting the scene. You're in the kitchen staring at a leftover cake. For the cake lovers like me, it wouldn't be stared at for very long. But if you had a goal, I want to eat better for my energy levels, maybe you would grab an apple instead. Studies have shown people who set clear goals are 42% times more likely to achieve them than those who don't, and that's 42% of people. That's almost half of people who would otherwise be winging it like a squirrel on espresso. So what does goal setting do? It gives us direction, it gives us motivation, and it gives us focus and accountability. If you think that direction is like a GPS for your fitness journey, without it you're basically spinning in circles hoping you end up somewhere healthy, and you could be spinning for a very long time or falling over. It gives us the motivation because we can see progress, and this actually lights up your brain's reward center. There's an actual neuroscience behind it, which is a release of dopamine. That dopamine that gets released, it really keeps us motivated to want to strive for the next one. And that's why a lot of people like ticking boxes, because that ticking box gives a release of dopamine. Then obviously coming to the focus and accountability. Without a goal, your workouts might look like a toddler in a candy store all over the place. We need focus, we need accountability and structure. So let's talk SMART goals. Let's dust off the cobwebs. Back in high school PE lessons, if anyone can remember, this is the superhero of goal setting, and that's SMART goals. What does SMART stand for? So we've got specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time bound. Imagine saying, I want to get fit. That is like saying, I want to fly. Technically possible if you're a bird. Instead, a SMART goal would be, I want to run 2 miles without stopping by the 15th of March. So that is specific. You know exactly what you want. You are measurable. You're going by either 2 miles and not more. You're achievable because you're signing up for a marathon if you've never run a block. And it's relevant because it aligns with your bigger health goals like endurance or weight loss. And it's time bound. You've put a deadline on it, which keeps your brain from procrastinating. You've got a goal. So here's the science. A 2015 study found that people who wrote down SMART goals were significantly more likely to succeed compared to vague goals. Writing it down literally wires your brain for success. It's like setting a mental GPS waypoint, and that is very, very powerful to have. So next we've got short-term and long-term goals. Think of it like baking a cake, that cake that we saw at the beginning. So long-term goal, that is the finished cake that you stare at that you're not wanting to eat. Maybe in other words, it's losing 50 pounds or it's completing a half marathon. Short-term goals is the recipe steps. So you might want to preheat the oven. You might want to measure the flour. You need to whisk the eggs. These are weekly or monthly milestones, like losing 4 pounds in a month or running a mile without stopping. So celebrating these short-term goals, these little wins, seriously by rewarding yourself, whichever way that brings you happiness, where you feel that actually I've achieved something, that's how your brain stays motivated. Science says small rewards release dopamine, and dopamine makes us happy. So who knew the neuroscience could be so so delicious. You can literally eat cake to reward yourself if that is the way you reward yourself, by completing a short-term goal. So without these milestones, your cake, your goal might collapse like a sad pancake. So even with smart goals, people do stumble. So let's cover the basics. Why? So they may be setting unrealistic goals. So trying to lose 20 pounds in a week is a great way to get frustrated and probably hangry. Only focusing on the outcome, so you're tracking the scale, your progress is more than a number. Track behaviors like workouts completed or vegetables eaten. They have no plans. So a goal without a plan are like trying to assemble an IKEA furniture blindfolded. It's absolute chaos. You need still the instructions. Your goal might to be, I want that wardrobe, but if you don't know how to put it up, it's still going to be very, very hard to do. And being too rigid, life does happen. If you miss a workout, adjust. Don't just abandon the plan. Don't abandon ship. Flexibility is your friend. Studies show that people who allow small setbacks actually are more likely to stick with goals long term. Basically, it's saying it's okay to wobble as long as you don't fall off the bike. So, motivation and accountability. Motivation is like Wi-Fi. It can disappear at the worst moment. So, how do we hack it? Motivation can be hacked because you track your progress. So, whether you use apps, journals, sticky notes, whatever works, if you can track your progress, it's visual or you've got a mental note, something you can maybe see, it means that you're a lot more motivated. It's a daily reminder. Share your goals. Talk to your partner, your family, because they are also who are going to keep you accountable the next time you see them. They might be asking questions like, ooh, how's your workouts going? How's the weight loss journey going? That is keeping you accountable, because that fear of guilt is also going to be a motivator. So people who actually tell their friends about the goals are more likely to succeed. So get telling your friends and family what your goals are. Even if they don't seem interested, if you verbalize it to someone, you can then be accountable for it. Rewards, we've just mentioned this one. So like I say, do a little reward for the short-term goal to get you to that long, large goal. So non-food rewards are the best, but something like new shoes, a massage, a Netflix binge, you choose something that gives you a mini reward. If it has to be food, then it has to be food, that 80-20 rule, but non-food rewards are found to be the best. And then another thing we can do for motivation is visual cues. We've just mentioned it a little bit with tracking your progress. If you post reminders about what you need to be doing, it's going to be reminding you daily, out of sight, out of mind. So do put reminders on your phone. I have my Google Calendar every single day. It's do a workout there, do a stretch there. My Google Calendar does look a little bit hectic, but if it's not there, it's not happening, and I swear by that. So do put them where you can see them. These hacks aren't gimmicks. They're scientifically proven ways to keep your brain motivated and your habits on track. So the homework, here's the action steps for the listeners that have lasted this far. We've not got long left, so don't worry. So here's your homework. Don't worry, it's a bit of fun. Pick one long-term fitness goal, break it into 2 to 3 short-term milestones, make them smart, and choose a tracking method, and tell a friend or community, someone in the community about it, because accountability is magic. So that is your homework. It's going to get you on the path to success if you follow it. So progress isn't always a straight line, remember. Some weeks you'll crush it, some weeks you'll do extra, and some weeks you might do nothing and you'll eat extra cake instead. But keep going, and that's how champions are made, or at least slightly less sad humans. So that's a wrap for today's episode of goal setting. Remember, it's less about willpower, more about strategy, science, with a little bit of humour. Remember, every day if you start it positive, you attract positive. If you start motivated, you attract opportunities. So next episode we'll be diving into pain. So if this is something that you've experienced pain in your life, whether that's back pain, whether it's pain from injury, whether it's a different systemic pain like a water infection, then the next one's definitely going to be for you. So do wait out for that episode to drop, because it's going to be a good one. And if you've enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe, leave a review. I'm Emily Mitchell, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.